Hey folks, Suburban Cowgirl here. I'm just going to run you through a real quick overview of one of my favorite pistols. This is Baby. She is a Browning High Power, and from what I have been able to find on Browning's website with the proof marks and whatnot, she was made in 1967. So she's kind of old, and she is in pretty good condition for her age. She does have a few scratches and nicks here and there, and some wear marks right here on the trigger guard where you can tell she was carried in a holster for quite a while, but she's in good condition. I haven't had to do anything restoration-wise to her, and I would prefer not to. So she is one of the very few weapons that we actually keep unloaded in the safe. Most things are loaded, I've told you that before. This is one of them that is not. And I don't carry her for defensive purposes, so to me this gun itself is irreplaceable. It's not like you can walk out into your neighborhood gun store and find another one exactly like it. So she is something that I treasure, and I do enjoy shooting her, but I don't take her with me on a day-to-day basis. That's reserved for the Walther that I'm carrying now, sometimes for the M&P that I have, or something similar to that. She's more of a safe queen. I'm going to admit it, and I don't like saying that about many things, but I think she's worth it. So anyway, I will show you that she is unloaded. Magazine is empty. Even if she weren't unloaded, if there was a bullet in here for some reason, there is a magazine disconnect safety. So even so, without the magazine in there, you can't pull the trigger, you can't decock it, can't do anything. The Browning High Power was designed after the 1911 style pistols. Browning himself did not get to see this finished. He was, of course, one of the gentlemen that worked on the 1911 pistols, and when he went to go design the High Power with some upgrades, he had to kind of work around the fact that the patents had still not expired. So unfortunately, by the time they got this to market, he had passed away, and I believe it was his apprentice, but I could be wrong about that. One of the gentlemen that finished off this design was able to kind of adjust things a little bit because the patents were no longer in effect, so he didn't have to worry about that. If you look right here on her barrel, there are proof marks there. There's a proof mark in front of the trigger guard, and then there's one underneath the trigger guard. With that information, if you go onto Browning's website, you can get some basic details on your pistol. And for instance, that's how I know this one's a 67. You put in her serial number, and it'll come back with a brief history. If you're interested, you can go ahead and pay, I believe it's $40 for a report on this particular pistol, and it'll tell you where she's been, exactly where she was manufactured in, what year, and even down to the month if there were certain lots they were putting out. So that's kind of neat if you were going to pass it on to somebody or just as a collector's item. If you look inside the grip, which you can't see on camera, I'm sure, but if you look in here, you can see that the insides of the grips are red. That's another indicator that they are original grips. She does have the Commander style hammer with the little cutout in it, and that is not something that you see often. Makes it a little bit more rare. The sights, honestly, they look right for the period of gun, but I have not had that checked out by somebody who would know better than I would. So they could have been replaced. I don't see where they would have been on the front. The rear sight, I don't see anything that sticks out real like a sore thumb, but I could be wrong. I'm not an expert on this. I just pistol that I knew felt good in my hand and that I've wanted since I was a kid. So plus she's gorgeous. I mean, come on, who wouldn't like that? One of the things that you do have to be careful with this gun versus, the newer guns that have come out since then, this is real bluing. So when you're done handling her, you need to wipe her off with a soft cloth, with a little bit of gun oil, something like that, some CLP, something to make sure that you've removed all of the skin oils off of here, or you will come back and have rust and pitting after a while. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to have to do anything to her. So I love her just the way she is. At some point I will do a takedown and cleaning video of her. I'm not going to do it tonight because, again, I'm one-handed and whatnot, but we'll do that, and then we will do a range video at some point with her. Anybody who's handled a 1911 style pistol knows they fit really well in the hand. I don't care if you are a 16-year-old, very petite woman, or if you are, a big beefy guy, it's going to feel good in your hand. And because this is not a 45, it's a 9mm, you're not going to get that snappiness that sometimes you get with the older 1911s. It's still very easy to handle. Once you get used to the sights, it's very easy to acquire your target and get the shot placement where you want it. It does take a little bit of getting used to at first because they are different than your standard Glock or M&P sights, whatever. But once you have it down, it's easy to keep it on target. So recoil is minimal. In a heavy steel gun like this, in a 9mm caliber, you're talking about nothing as far as recoil is concerned. So the reason it's called a high power is not because the gun itself has any sort of extra go-go juice to it, but because the magazines of the time that were in the 1911 pistols were 45s, and they didn't carry as many rounds as this one does. So it's a 9mm, but you got 13 rounds in here, which is what makes it the high power. That's what that refers to. And let's see if there's anything else. She does have a safety. Not something I'm real concerned with. Again, I don't carry her on a daily basis. Not a real big fan of safeties as it is anyway. No gun that I carry has a safety. This right here, this is my safety. So that didn't concern me. It does have the 1911 style pin that you use her to take down with, and you can end up with the idiot scratch if you're not careful. I almost did it the first time I was putting her back together, and I probably would have kicked myself in the head. So anyway, be careful of that, and it does take a little more power, a little more hand strength to be able to pull the slide back when you're trying to lock her back or work with her in any way than you would be used to using on even a Glock. But it's manageable, and there are two grooves here. The first one's the safety, the second one is what you use to lock back the barrel or lock back the slide with newer pistols. That's your magazine release. It's in the same basic spot as just about everything else is nowadays. So it's really easy to use. It's easy to transition from a newer pistol like a Glock or an M&P to using this. It's not difficult to figure out. There's not a whole bunch of extraneous levers and actions going on. So anyway, it's Baby, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, share, and subscribe, and you can see us here on YouTube. You can go on to Facebook to The Suburban Cowgirl, and you can also go see us at our website, thesuburbancowgirl.com. So until next time.